Good day everyone and welcome to today's presentation on cyber threats. Cyber threats are becoming increasingly common and can have devastating consequences for individuals and organizations. So we need to look at the types of cyber security that we have and the security measures that can be employed to reduce or to avoid cyber threats. So when you're talking of cyber threats, when you are talking of cyber threats, we are saying that this refers to any potential danger to computer systems, networks, and data or the internet. So these threats can come in many forms, including malware, network threats, social engineering threats, and many more. So these threats can encompass various malicious activities that also includes unauthorized access, data breaches, information theft, disruption of services. So the significance of cybersecurity has increased with the growing reliance on digital technologies and the interconnectedness of systems and networks. So these threats pose risks to individuals, organizations, governments, and even the stability of critical infrastructures. We also need to look at the potential impacts of cyber threats. The potential impacts of cyber threats are far-reaching and can affect both individuals and organizations. So we have individual threats that includes identity theft. And when we're talking of identity theft, this one occurs when a cyber attacker gains access to an individual's personal information, such as their name, their address, their date of birth, and social security numbers. So this information can be used to commit fraud, can open new credit accounts, and even gain access to sensitive areas. We can talk of financial loss. Talking of financial loss, these are attacks that when a cyber attacker gains access to an individual's financial information, such as their bank account numbers or credit card information. So this information can be used to make unauthorized transactions, leading to financial loss. Then we can talk of privacy breaches. This occurs when a cyber attacker gains access to an individual's personal account, such as their email account or social media account. This information can be used to embarrass or blackmail the individuals. So we can also talk of reputational damage. And this one, when a cyber attacker gains access to an individual's personal information and uses it to damage their reputation. For example, an attacker may post embarrassing information about the individual on social media. Then this is now common on social media. Then we'll talk of personal safety risk. Personal safety risk can occur when a cyber attacker gains access to an individual's personal information, such as their location or daily routine. So this information can be used to stalk or harm an individual. I think we all know about stalkers on social media. Then we can also talk of organizational impacts. Potential impacts on organizations. We have data breaches that occur when a cyber attack gain access to an organizational sensitive data, such as customer information or financial data. This information can be used to commit fraud or sold on the dark web. We can also talk of intellectual property theft. This one occurs when a cyber attacker gains access to an organization's intellectual property, such as trade secrets or patents. This information can be used to gain a competitive advantage. We can also talk of financial fraud. This one occurs when a cyber attacker gains access to an organizational financial systems and uses it to commit fraud, such as transferring funds to unauthorized accounts. We can also talk of operational disruption. This occurs when a cyber attacker gains access to an organization's system and disrupts its operations, such as by shutting down its website or network. Then we can talk of reputational damage to an organization. That occurs when an attacker gains access to an organizational system and uses it to damage its reputation, such as by posting embarrassing information about the organization on social media. This is the same as the one that we explained on individual impact. Then we can talk of legal liabilities. that can occur when a cyber attacker gains access to an organization's system and the organization is held liable for the breach, such as under data protection regulations. Then also this impact of cybersecurity can extend beyond the immediate targets, affecting the overall economy, the national security, and even the public trust. Then we move on to the vulnerabilities in computer systems. So cyber attacks, the cyber attackers can make use of vulnerabilities in computer systems to gain access to the systems. So we have common vulnerabilities that include software bugs. And these are areas or flaws in software code that can be exploited by attackers. These bugs can be caused by poor coding practices during development from the software developer's side, lack of testing or other factors. We can talk of misconfiguration. This occurs when software or hardware is not properly configured, leaving it vulnerable to attack. For example, a network administrator may forget to change the default password on a router, allowing hackers to easily gain access. We can talk of weak passwords. These are passwords that are easily guessable or vulnerable to cracking. Using weak passwords can make it easy for attackers to gain access to systems or data. Then there are unpatched systems. This refers to systems that have not been updated with the latest security patches. This can leave them vulnerable to attacks that exploit vulnerabilities. Then we talk of social engineering loopholes. These ones refer to vulnerabilities in human behavior that can be exploited by attackers. For example, an attacker may use phishing emails to trick users into revealing sensitive information. Then we can also talk of the vulnerabilities can also exist at various levels. That includes, we have operating systems, we have applications, we have network protocols, and we also have human factors. And when we're talking of human factors, we are saying that there is lack of training or awareness, that even ignorance can also contribute to vulnerabilities in computer systems. Then now we want to move on to the types of cyber threats that we have. So we have malware, and this one is short for malicious software. Malicious software refers to any software specifically designed to harm or exploit computer systems, networks, or users. Malware plays a significant role in cyber attacks as it enables attackers to gain unauthorized access, to steal data, to disrupt services, or to control compromised systems. So we have examples here of malware. We have virus, and viruses are malicious software that can replicate themselves and spread to other computers. We have worms. Worms are malicious software as well that can spread from computer to computer without the need for human interaction. We have the WannaCry worm, which spread globally in 2017 and it infected a lot of computers. We have Trojan. Trojans are malicious software that disguise themselves. They disguise themselves as legitimate software. Example, we can talk of the Zest Trojan that was used to steal banking credentials and other sensitive information. Then we can talk of ransomware. This is a malicious software that encrypts a victim's file and demands payments in exchange for the decryption key. Then we can talk of spyware from the word itself, spyware. This one is a malicious software that secretly monitors a victim's computer activity. Then there is a keylogger spyware which records keystrokes and sends them to the attacker. So there are also botnets. These ones are a network of computers that have been infected with malicious software and can be controlled remotely. We have the Mirai botnet, which was used to launch the massive DDoS attacks against the websites and networks. We discuss about the DDoS attack in our next lecture. Then there's also adware. This one from the word adware. This one is the malicious software that displays unwanted advertisements on a victim's computers. We have rootkits. These are malicious software that hide themselves and other malware from the victim's computers. We move on to network threats, and remember the threats that we discussed earlier can also classified under network threats. So network threats refers to any potential danger or risk that can be compromised, that can compromise the integrity, the confidentiality or availability, which is that CIA trait that we discussed previously in our previous lecture, of a computer network and its data. In this data, such as meaning the middle attack. This one occurs when a hacker intercepts communication between two parties. Then there is SQL injection. This one, this is attack that occurs when a hacker injects malicious code into a database. So the SQL injection attack against the Yahoo, also the database which exposed the sensitive information of millions of users. This is an example. Then we can talk of denial of service. The DOS attack occurs when a hacker floods a network with the traffic in order to overwhelm it. Then we have the distributed denial of service, the DDoS. This one is similar to DOS attacks, but they involve multiple computers. Then we have also DNS spoofing. This occurs when a hacker manipulates a domain name system to redirect a user to a fake website. Threats. Physical threats involve stealing physical devices such as laptops or smartphones in order to gain access to sensitive information, such as a theft of a laptop containing sensitive information from a major company. There is physical damage. Physical damage involves damaging physical devices or infrastructure in order to disrupt operations, such as the physical damage to a data center which caused widespread outages and disruptions to major websites. Then surveillance. This is monitoring physical locations or devices in order to gather sensitive information. We have insider threats. And these insider threats involve employees or contractors who intentionally compromise security in order to gain access to sensitive information. Still under insider threats, we have accidental insiders. This involves employees or contractors one intentionally compromise security, such as clicking on a phishing email. Then we move on to APTs and other threats. These are advanced persistent threats. They involve sophisticated targeted attacks carried out by nation states, organized crime groups. Often involves multiple vectors such as malware, phishing, and physical threats. Then there is supply chain attacks. This involves compromising third-party vendors or suppliers in order to gain access to sensitive information. They can involve malware as well, phishing or physical threats. We can talk of an example of a supply chain attack against maybe a major technology company, which involves compromising a third-party supplier in order to gain access to sensitive information. Then there is cryptojacking. This involves using a victim's computer to mine cryptocurrency without their consent. This involves also malware, phishing or physical threats, right? There may be a cryptojacking attack against a major website, which involve using visitors' computers to mine cryptocurrency without their consent, right? So this one is unauthorized use of a victim's computing resources to mine cryptocurrency, often through malicious scripts running in browsers or installed malware. Then there are zero-day attacks. That's the first point on our slide. Involve exploiting vulnerabilities that have not yet been patched. Right? We can talk of an example of an attack against a major software company which involved exploiting a previously unknown vulnerability in order to gain access to sensitive information. There are also some emerging threats that you can find. There are 5G network threats. These involve attacks carried out by exploiting vulnerabilities in 5G networks, right? Maybe the 5G network attack against a major telecommunication company, which involves exploiting a vulnerability in order to gain access to sensitive information. Then there is Internet of Things. Threats involve attacks carried out by exploiting vulnerabilities in IoT devices. Then cloud computing threats. These threats that involve exploiting vulnerabilities in cloud computing platforms, maybe against a major software company, which involve exploiting a vulnerability in cloud computing services in order to gain access to sensitive information. Then there are also attack vectors, and this is a path or method that a cyber attacker uses to gain unauthorized access to a computer system, a network, or application to carry out a malicious activity such as data theft, system disruption, or any distraction in a network or a system. Then they can be technical, such as malware infections, unpatched software vulnerabilities, or network exploits such as SQL injection or cross-site scripting. They can also be human-based, relying on social engineering tactics like phishing emails, pretexting, or baiting to trick users into revealing sensitive information or granting. So this can also involve active attacks, directly damaging or altering system, or passive attacks, gathering information without altering the systems. The common example include phishing, malware, malicious attachments, compromised websites, and exploiting unpatched vulnerabilities. Even physical access or insider threats can serve as an attack vector if attackers exploit human or procedural weaknesses. So in short, we are saying that attack vectors refer to the methods used by attackers to gain access to a network or system. This can also include, in summary, email attachments, infected software downloads, infected website, social engineering attack, weak passwords, unpatched system, misconfigured. Then moving on, we need to see how we protect ourselves from cyber attacks. So there are techniques and best practices to mitigate cyber attacks. There is the use of strong or unique passwords for all accounts. You can talk of keeping software and operating systems up to date. You can talk of regularly applying security patches and updates to fix vulnerabilities in software and systems. That's patch management. Strong access control, implementing secure authentication mechanism, least privilege principles, and robust password policies. Then there is network segmentation. This one is dividing networks into smaller segments to limit the spread of attacks and contain potential breaches. Dividing the network may be at university, the engineering block divide, and then there is the admin block, then there is maybe the library, the great hall. Then we divide those networks into smaller segments to limit the spread of attacks and contain potential breaches. Then there is also use of intrusion detection and prevention systems. These are deploying systems that monitor network traffic for suspicious activities and block or alert on potential threats. Then there is data backup and recovery. This one, backing up critical data and establishing processes for efficient data recovery in case of an incident. Then there is also employee training and awareness. We are educating users about security-based practices, social engineering techniques, and the importance of reporting suspicious activities. Then also need to be cautious when clicking on links or opening attachments to reduce cyber threats or cyber attacks such as phishing. We can also make use of two-factor authentication whenever possible. Even our WhatsApp has two-factor authentication mechanism. There is also backup important data regularly, which is data backup and recovery that we discussed.